Every life has a story, and every story is worth sharing. Your story, my story, and our story speak of victory and defeat, joy and sorrow, resilience and vulnerability. They are not just our story, they are Christ's story in us. They are Kingdom Stories from Down Under.
She had it tough from the beginning. Growing up in South Africa was very challenging. Family breakdown, issues, challenges all through. Came to Australia, more challenges. But she made it through. Tonight in the studio I have Jen, and Jen has been on such a roller coaster journey. I can't wait to hear her story. Thank you for joining us. Jen, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
I just had a quick look at your bio, and I thought, oh my word, she's had it tough, hasn't she? From the word go. There was never a dull moment in your life, was there?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. But I suppose it made me stronger. I grew up very quick in circumstances.
Yeah.
So to have there was challenges, many challenges in my life, ups and downs, but praise God, He brought me through.
Yeah.
And I grew a lot, and yeah.
So you started off in South Africa. Your parents are German or Afrikaans?
Yeah,
Dutch?
My mom and dad, both is Afrikaans.
Dutch background or heritage or German?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, Dutch background. Yeah, My whole family is Afrikaans.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which part of South Africa were you in?
I was born in KwaZulu-Natal. It's a province, but I think they changed the name to Swaziland.
Swaziland.
Yeah.
And what's your first memory of childhood?
My first memory of childhood. School.
School? How was school?
Very difficult. I failed a lot. I couldn't study. I couldn't concentrate.
So you were the first or the second in your family?
I'm in the middle. There's a younger sister than me, then a sister a year older than me, then my older sister.
So 4 sisters?
Yeah, 4 sisters.
Okay.
My dad remarried and for the 3rd time, and he got two more daughters.
How old were you when the marriage broke down to your mom and dad?
I was about 4 or 5, about around there.
Do you remember anything?
Living separate, go through very hard circumstances. My dad was an alcoholic.
You stayed with mom or with dad?
Me and my younger sister stayed with my mother, and my 2 oldest sisters stayed with my dad.
Okay. Same town or?
No, I lived in not far from where I was born, and my dad moved near Johannesburg.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And would you see them, your sisters and your dad?
Yeah, school holidays, they will come and visit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So did mom remarry as well?
I don't think so, but she lived with someone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you grew up just with mom around and with your little sister?
For a few years I stayed with my sister, and me stayed with my mother and her boyfriend, and she died when I was 6 years old.
Your mom died when you were 6?
Yeah.
So 2 years into her separation?
Yeah.
Was she sick or?
She committed suicide.
Mm. Did you know at the time what was going on? Do you actually remember the funeral?
Well, I was actually the first one that saw the aftermath. After she committed suicide, I saw. And
you found her?
No. I saw her friend carried her out, and I went to the bathroom and saw the bathroom.
She slit her wrists?
Yeah.
That's tough.
Yeah, and my granddad, he told us the next day, and we went and stayed with my dad. But we went straight to boarding school, so I was basically in boarding school my whole school life.
Is that common in South Africa, or just your circumstances were like that?
I think my mom and my dad, they were married very young, so, and I think because we were poor as well, so we were kind of, it was best for us to stay in boarding schools.
Yes.
And
So it was it cheaper to stay in boarding school than to stay in a home? Because in Australia, boarding schools are quite expensive.
I think so, and I think because it was overwhelming for my dad to look after us, because of responsibility and studying, and I think in school they kind of have more of responsibility, to
There's a program. There's
homework.
They check.
Yeah.
So pretty much that's where you spend your life.
Yes, in boarding school.
Were you in the same with your sister or separate?
Three of our sisters, the one that's a year younger than me and the one that's a year older than me, we stayed in a boarding school. And my older sister, she was in another school because it's like a school for women where it's for problem children. My sister walked away a lot from home, so my dad sent her to this place.
Okay.
So you have to stay there until you finish school.
Yeah.
Before you're allowed to leave. So she was privileged in finishing school.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There was when I was 12 years old, my dad sent me and a sister that's a year older than me to live with his sister on a farm to stay with him because of he couldn't afford it anymore.
Okay. And did you go to school there in the village, in the town?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
And while you were at school, you were with the other sisters, so you weren't really on your own. You had a bit of. Did it feel like family having them two around, or was it just the same?
The family?
No, in the sense, having your sisters with you in boarding school, did it feel like you were family, or it felt just like any other child in the boarding school? Did you look after each other?
Yeah, but because of we were different ages.
Yeah.
We have different friends, and
yeah.
We went kind of own way. But if we have time together, we will talk and.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Then what happened? You went on a farm?
Yes, we went and stayed on a farm.
Just you, or you and your little sister?
Me and sister that's a year older than me.
Okay.
We went and stayed there.
And?
It wasn't very. It was. It was not pleasant. They emotionally and mentally abused us. It was very hard for us to live there.
Wow. How did you manage? How did you cope with everything thrown at you?
Well, because we didn't really have a voice, we just had to, every day as it comes, we just have to keep on going.
Did you cry a lot?
Oh, yeah.
At night?
Yep.
Yeah. Did you have any confidant or somebody that you can trust, somebody that you can, a grandparent or anyone that you can go to?
No.
What about between you and your sisters?
We weren't really in contact because that days there were no, like computers and there's old telephones, and we weren't allowed to phone in any way.
Yeah.
So, or write letters or anything.
Were you a reasonably behaved child? Were you getting in trouble a lot?
No, I was introvert. I was by myself, quiet, lonely, by myself.
And in your teenage years?
Because of circumstances, I became very hard in my heart.
Mm-hmm.
And I still struggled in school. I didn't cope very well. And at that times when we were in school, there weren't any help like today, like teachers' assistants.
Yeah.
There weren't any help. So a lot of kids, one class, you do your work and go home. And if you fail, you just do your year over.
Yeah.
And I failed a lot, so I left school very early. When I was about 16 or 17.
By then you were on your own pretty much.
Yeah, I went and stayed with my sister, and I started to work very young.
What were you doing?
It's a place same as news agency.
Mm-hmm.
I started to work there. She was a manager there, so I was blessed for her to give me a job there.
Nice.
And I always found myself, I like to do things with my hands.
Yes.
You know, like physical things with my hands. I wasn't really good of reading and studying and that kind of thing, but visual, I was very good at that.
And how was the work in the news agency? Good?
I enjoyed it, very challenging, but I enjoyed it.
And you stayed with your sister?
Yeah.
No boys at this stage?
Mm-mm.
Kept away?
Mm-hmm.
Any knowledge of God, anything like that? No, nothing.
My mother's father,
Mm-hmm.
he was a pastor.
Okay.
He built churches and so on, and my grandmother was a Sunday school teacher,
Mm-hmm.
and they always prayed for us and sit around the table and we pray and read Bible and so on.
Nice.
But when you leave school and there's not really support, so you just go your own way and do your own thing. And I knew about Jesus, but there was no relationship.
So how long did you work at the news agency? What did you do afterwards?
Well, I never really stayed at a job for long.
Mm-hmm.
I moved a lot. Same as when I was, growing up, my dad moved a lot, so
You
I
took something after
got
it.
used to it. I've had many jobs. I
Mhm.
moved a lot. Yeah.
Okay.
I was there only for a short while. Yeah.
And never got married?
I was married before.
Yeah.
Got married in 1996. Was married for 16 years.
How old were you when you got married?
21.
A South African man?
Mm-hmm.
What was he like?
Very quiet. Never talked.
Never thought.
Mm-mm.
Well, that didn't give you much trouble, did it?
Mm.
2 introverts.
Bit frustrating because no communication. It was very quiet.
How did you meet?
Through my sister's husband.
Okay.
They worked together.
Mate.
Hey?
Mate.
Yeah.
Okay. And he was nice to you and he proposed? Did you
Yeah.
go out on a date? How did it work?
Yeah, we got married very early.
Mm-hmm.
Knowledge of, what is just, hear the word marriage, then okay, that sounds good, and got married, and yeah.
No children?
No.
You didn't want to, or you didn't conceive, or?
Well, 2 years after we got married, I was pregnant,
Mhm.
but it's only about 2 months immature, so I don't know what you call it, the doctrinal word for it.
Yeah.
But
You lost the pregnancy.
yeah,
Was that difficult?
no.
It didn't affect you emotionally?
No.
Was there a relief?
Actually, when if it wasn't for this pregnancy, they wouldn't have. So
Identified.
there was a cancer growth on my ovaries.
Mm.
So if I wasn't pregnant, I wouldn't have catch it.
So you had cancer,
Yeah.
and then you went into treatment there?
Yeah. They at once they took the baby out and they took
Removed
out
the uterus?
cancer. Yeah.
And the uterus?
Yeah. No. It was all still there. It's all still there.
Okay.
Yeah.
But just the cancer.
Yeah.
So they had a surgery. You had a surgery there and then immediately. Wow. That was the great escape, wasn't it?
Yeah. I was thinking about that the other day. I praise God because that miscarriage. I
Yes.
won't, rejoice in a miscarriage, but that miscarriage actually saved me because of that ovary growth.
Yeah.
They, just in time, they caught it.
Wow.
Just in time.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what happened with the marriage?
Well, through the years, I always, tell him, please communicate because we can't get to know each other. And it just, one day, we moved to Australia.
Oh, you migrated here.
Yeah.
How come? What made that choice happen?
Work sponsorship. He saw ad in newspaper. And
Was he in the mining?
he was a construction worker.
Okay.
And he called me one day. I was working at the kindy at the church,
Mhm.
and he called me and he said, "We're moving to Australia." And I said, "Oh, okay." And a year later, we came here.
You said you were working at the kindy of a church.
At the church.
You were Christian by now, or
No.
no, just as a job?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Not attending church, just working at the kindy. Mm.
I never knew, I went to churches,
Yes.
but never heard the message of salvation
Mm.
and to be born again.
Mm.
I never heard the messages, and I thought, well,
I'm a Christian. You probably
Yeah.
identified as well.
yeah.
Wow. So you moved to Australia. Did you embrace the move, or were you hesitant?
For me, everything wasn't, well, if it happens, it happens. It was very different for me the first time I landed here. It was so different for me. See a different culture, and yeah, but I looked forward to it. I really enjoyed it.
And you adjusted, you adapted well here.
Oh, very well. Yeah. Get used to the accent.
Yeah. Were you speaking more Afrikaans in Africa?
Yeah. It's my first language.
So very little English, more Afrikaans.
Since I was little, you know the language, but mostly you speak Afrikaans.
Mm-hmm. So what was your first job in Australia?
I worked at Chicken Treat.
Nice.
I was here 2 days, and I started working for Chicken Treat. And I didn't work there for long, as usual.
Yeah.
And then I started working for this engineering company that sponsored my ex-husband,
Mm-hmm.
and as a boilermaker's assistant.
Oh, on the
And,
tools.
Yep. And,
In town or in the mines?
In the industrial area. But then the mine come and they, will hire contractors.
Yes.
Then you go to the mine site.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the marriage, how was it going in Australia?
Same, very quiet, very, every day just go and very plain. We were like two friends. It's not really, there was no emotion. And
From your side, either? So from his side, not much emotion, but nor from you?
I tried to talk. I really tried.
Mm-hmm.
But he was just a very, very quiet person. He never communicated.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I tried.
So what happened to the marriage eventually?
Well, one day we were driving and I said, I can't handle it anymore. I want a divorce. And we divorced.
He was okay with it? Wow. No hard feelings? Just sign the papers,
Mm-hmm.
each go your own way.
Mm-hmm.
Settled okay?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Did you cry a lot?
No.
No?
No.
No. Interesting, eh? Was it a relief? Was it a freedom act?
It was okay. Kind of relief in a way, and yeah.
Did he remarry?
Yes.
Interesting. He communicates more now? Or who knows?
Oh no, we don't talk anymore. And I don't know how's their marriage going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm. How did you meet the Lord?
Well, when I was in South Africa, we moved into this house, and the lady opposite us, generous heart lady, came over, and she invited me for a movie. And I said, well, I love movies.
Yes.
Little did I know, she's going to show me about a movie about heaven and hell.
Mm.
And
Left behind.
Heaven's Gates and Hell's Flames.
Oh, else.
It was like a stage, they show you
Theater.
parts of,
Ah.
yeah. And the message was drawn to me.
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of drawn to it.
Yes.
There was a message in it. And when I went back home, I said, Lord, I'm surrendering my life to you. Because it's the first time in my life, in a movie, I heard the words surrendering my life to him.
Yes. So that's where it started.
Mm-hmm. But it didn't stay there. I fell away so many times. Wrong influences, wrong things that I've done. Do something in my... I've done so many wrong things in my life to fill a void in my life.
Yes.
And to cover up guilt. But the more I did it, the more guilty I felt.
Mm.
And yeah.
So you're in Australia now, divorced. What do you do apart from work?
Now?
No. What did you do then?
In Australia?
Yeah.
After?
So after the divorce.
Okay. I was working for GRGs. I was a truck driver.
Oh.
Yeah. I was working for GRGs.
You're a tomboy, eh?
I always like to work outside. I would always found jobs where I can be alone, or not to work in an office, studying, and I wasn't good at it. I wanted hands-on things.
Yes.
So by working with machinery and operating machinery and trucks, and I enjoyed that.
Yes.
So I was working for them, but I stopped working there, and I lived in this little unit, and I lived on my credit card.
Oh.
And because I didn't have a job, and I was very desperate for a job. And I was basically on my last cent of my credit card. And I packed all my stuff in. I don't know where to go yet, but I just packed all my stuff in. And it was a Friday.
Mm-hmm.
And I went down on the carpet and I said, Lord, please help me. And as I got out, the phone rang. And but before this, I phoned an ad in the newspaper for a truck driving job.
Yes.
And the guy called me back and he said, listen, it's your last chance now. If you want to have the job, it's fine. And the job was in Perth and I'm in Bunbury. Mm-hmm. And that was a Friday, and he said, you have to start on Monday.
Yeah.
So I still don't know how I'm going to get there, where I'm going to stay, whatsoever.
Yes.
And I knew friends in Bunbury. Was it in Bunbury? No, we had friends, and I stored my stuff there for a little while.
Yes.
And I went and stayed, and they told me that they knew somebody in the caravan park, Chris.
Yes.
Chris.
In Perth?
Yeah, Midland.
Okay.
Midland. And but he said there's no space here, so I went to live with somebody else. And he called me back one day and said this caravan came up, and this is where I moved to caravan park, just opposite Chris.
Mm-hmm.
And this is how we met.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you met in the caravan park, became friends, then?
We got married.
He's a sweet chatterbox. He's talkative, right? He communicates.
Yes, he makes up for all the non-talking.
That's cute. That's cute. And you just got married?
We got married, moved to Forest Field in a house, and went there from home because they sold the house as well, and we moved into the house where we are now.
Mm-hmm. When did you start following the Lord? Were you both?
Basically,
were you Christians at the time or not really?
Chris was for many years, and I basically started growing the Lord when I met him.
Mm-hmm.
And when he will go to work, I will. When I have a day off, I'll go in his caravan and get some teachings from him, steal some teachings, and I will watch it in the DVD. And this is how I started growing the Lord. And I wanted to know more, and he was so gracious to me, and he taught me so much about the Lord, and this is how I grew.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. It wasn't easy.
No.
No, it wasn't easy.
For you or for him?
For me.
Yeah.
Because there was so much to learn. And, to go all of a sudden from this to this, from here to, as a born-again Christian, start to grow in the Lord, it was difficult.
Mm.
It was difficult. But we still learning every day.
Did you get baptized? In water by immersion, or have you had a chance to do that?
Well, when it was in school, you know, when you go to boarding school, you have to go to church.
Yes.
There's no way, you have to go.
So they baptized you all en masse.
And we sat in the church, and that day was a baptism. I thought, well, I might as well, you know, get baptized. But I didn't really knew the meaning of being baptized. So I just thought, well, there's a nice line there with nice little robes on. I might as well do the same.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Well, I think it's still valid. Yeah. I mean, even though you weren't fully 100% committed, it's still there in your past, and it triggered something. Was there a time when you really committed to following God, when you surrendered everything? Do you remember? Can you pinpoint while you were with Chris?
Absolutely. When I started to, you know, realize that I need Him.
Mm-hmm.
I need Him in my life, and I fully surrender my life to Him.
Do you remember where you were and how you did it?
I think basically since the beginning,
Mm-hmm.
when I start to watch these teachings,
Yeah.
these DVDs, I start to, wow, this is what I've missed in my life. And I really enjoyed it since the beginning. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I grow from strength to strength, from day to day.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what did you do as a job? Still doing challenging works out there in the field?
I was still
Driving trucks?
Yeah, I was contracting for Woolworths.
Yes.
Driving for them.
Big trucks?
Yeah.
Semi-trailers?
Mm-hmm.
Nice. And you ride the motorbike as well?
Mm-hmm.
How long have you been riding a bike?
Well, I learned when I was in school. I was about maybe 15 when I learned. But I almost burned somebody's bike out because I don't know. You have to change gears.
Oh.
I thought it's automatic.
One gear.
So this is how I learned. So this is my first attempt.
Nice. Good. And what bike do you ride now?
Triumph Bonneville 900cc.
Is that a Triumph?
Yeah.
Wow. Powerful bike.
Yeah, it's okay. It goes.
It's strong.
Yeah.
Is it up like this, or is it more like?
It's like a British old vintage style.
Yeah.
But it's just a the upgrade of it. Yeah.
Noisy?
No, quite. Yeah.
Safe? Do you feel safe on the bike?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yes.
You haven't had any falls?
Well, it's just not while riding, but long time ago. When I had my first bike, it was a cruiser. I was riding in an industrial area. I'm just glad there was nobody there.
Yeah.
So I went to Stop Street and something happened. I just fell over.
On your own?
Yeah. And out of shock, I lifted this heavy bike up. So that was my first one. And the other one was I had my second big bike, and we went to a friend's house, and they had a gravel road, and there was a ditch, and I rode in the ditch with my bike, and Chris
Slipped.
Chris went in and he drove out.
You have fallen off?
Not really fallen off. I just went in and I maybe went to the side a little bit.
I left the bike there.
Yeah, and he came in to get out.
I should take you to Indonesia once to ride in the mud. It's really, really challenging. Road bikes in the mud.
No.
Not off-road bikes.
Anything in gravel and water?
It's nasty. We've had a few falls and slip slops. I remember one time I was riding in Indonesia and we were in this massive mud pile. You just could not get this filthy bike out of there. You know, I was up to my knees down in mud. The bike would just spit everywhere and I couldn't lift it out of the mud either and it's like 35 degrees and 90% humidity. You're sweating. It's just, the mud is just hot and, we've been riding for 2 hours and you're sunburned and you just, I was going to leave it all there. Just can it. But I pushed through. I lost my shoes, I lost everything in the mud. But eventually pulled it through. I said to them on the way back, please, let's not go back the same way. So we went the long way around just to avoid that muddy area. Where are you now on your journey? You with Chris, married, happily married, integrated in the Christian life.
Yes.
You've matured.
Absolutely.
You're growing.
Absolutely.
How's your family? Do you keep in touch with your sisters?
I do keep in touch with them.
They're all in South Africa?
Yeah, all of them, yeah. I have one.
How are they? How are they?
Well, they're going well. I always tell them that I'm praying for them and I'm thinking about them and I'm sending them encouraging messages and so on.
None of them have received the Lord yet?
One of my sisters, she goes to church, but the other sisters, no.
So where are you on your spiritual journey?
Well, I'm at a place where I really enjoy spending time with the Lord. To read the Bible and have reference books and to decipher my verses.
Yeah.
It's like eating food. I just want more.
Yeah.
And I really, really enjoy it. Get up early hours of the morning, just sitting there, spending time with the Lord.
That's nice. And in terms of ministry, are you involved in any ministry?
Well, for now, part of Chris's Band of Brothers Motorcycle Christian
Nice.
Riders. And Wednesday nights we have the soup kitchen in Midland, feeding the hungry.
And that's hands-on, you're directly involved in that.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful ministry.
I really enjoy it.
So who are these people that you feed?
People that lost everything in their life, their jobs, people that are on drugs.
Yeah.
Women that's been divorced, they don't have a place to go. Men that, have nowhere to go.
Do they live on the streets or do they live in housing, transition housing? Or?
Some live in houses, some live on the streets. Some live with friends.
And this ministry is every day? Or, you get involved one night a week,
yeah.
But they get fed every day?
Yeah.
That's a beautiful ministry.
Absolutely.
Do they talk to you? Can you plant seeds?
Absolutely, yeah. And
so they know you by now?
After we dish up this, time to, most of them left already, and then we'll sit around and you'll just go and you'll go and sit next to them and just have a normal conversation with them. How are you going? And the more you talk to them, the more you can see they get more open with you and they smile more and they feel comfortable and they see that we love them and we respect them for who they are.
It's beautiful.
Absolutely. I really enjoy it.
Nice. What's next for you? What are some dreams you have?
Well, many times I say, Lord, whatever you will, because I would love to learn more. I would love to, go in something. I want to do something more now. Yeah, absolutely.
We should get you into the school of ministry.
Yeah.
We should get you equipped. That would challenge you for at least a year and a bit. And then released to do more ministry. What's the legacy that you're building? What do you feel that you are constructing for the generations who will follow you?
Well, for now, I love to encourage people. When I have a conversation with somebody, and I will always listen what they have to say, their story.
Yes.
Because I know what it is to be rejected, to be lonely. So I will just listen to their story. I will just tell them, how proud I am of them, and you can make it, and you can just see how comfortable they become, and put a smile on their face, and just to listen to their story, and for me, be interested in them. They feel so comfortable around it, and then this is what I want to kind of do. I would love to, set up a website where it's like people that are going through difficult times in their life and just need upliftment.
Yes.
So I can, just reply on, if they have a question, I just want to reply and just uplift them and give them Bible verses that's uplifting. That's what I want to do.
That's beautiful. Uplift the people. Were you uplifted like that as well?
Absolutely. When, for prayer, people praying for you, and Bible reading, especially Ephesians 1 and 2, what God says, who I am in Him.
Yes. Nice. Well, thank you so much for coming to the show and sharing
Thank you.
your amazing life story. How are you emotionally at the moment? How well do you express your emotions?
Much better. I feel God's word encourages me from day to day. In all aspects of life, there's scriptures in the Bible that you can go read.
Yes.
When you're down, when you're up, in every level, there's scriptures.
Yes.
And just read the Bible.
Yeah.
Because it's a manual, it's a life's manual. It's daily food. It's daily food for your soul, your body, your mind.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. Always in the Bible.
Absolutely.
I'm sure others have encouraged you along the path, especially Chris.
Absolutely. Oh yes, absolutely.
And I think this call to uplift others is a powerful call. I see you have a heart for those people who are lonely and rejected and on the sidelines.
Because I know how it feels.
You've been there.
I know how it feels.
You've lived there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I think somebody needs to reach out to them rather than, they won't make the effort because they can't. They're too weak.
Absolutely.
Too hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Thank you. I just pray that you get the opportunity to do that and build up a beautiful ministry with that calling on your life.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what a beautiful story. What a challenging life. And, in most people's eyes, someone like that could not make it, Growing up without parents, growing up in boarding schools, being separated from your siblings, being an introvert, and then just dealing with life issues, marrying someone who just won't go on the same journey with you in the sense of talking, in the sense of sharing emotions, and just, plodding along for many years, and yet there comes a new dawn, a new life, a new beginning, and God makes that possibility. And just to have Jen share here, I thought how beautiful it is that she has a heart for those who are lonely, to uplift them, to encourage them, and to care for them. Maybe you need that encouragement. Maybe you are on the peripheries at the moment. Maybe you are lonely at the moment. Well, Jen has made it, and you can make it. Find the Bible verses that encourage you. Find those people that uplift you, and don't stay where you are. Just trust in God, and you will see great miracles in your life. I'm sure you'll enjoy this program and this beautiful testimony and story. And we'd love it if you could just share it with others and tell others about Kingdom Stories from Down Under. And if you want to recommend somebody to interview here in Perth, Western Australia, we're more than open to do so. You will find us on Apple Podcasts, on Google Podcasts, on Amazon, on Spotify, and of course on YouTube with this video content at Kingdom Stories from Down Under. I look forward to seeing you next week.
Thank you for joining us on Kingdom Stories from Down Under. We'd love it if you would subscribe, rate, and share these stories with your wider community. And remember, every story is worth sharing, including yours.